Hello Year 6 and welcome to our maths lesson today with me, Miss Watson, and we are going to be looking at showing negative numbers. Okay, so our learning intention today is to be able to use negative numbers in context and calculate intervals across 0. Now I'm sure you'll be aware when it gets very cold in wintertime, temperatures turn from our normal positive integers into negative numbers when the temperature drops below freezing, and that's when we get our negative numbers. Now we're going to look at our in focus task, and it says the lowest and highest temperatures in Albany in the state of New York are shown. Okay, and we can see on the screen here we've got two thermometers with some temperatures shown on there, and we can see that they are shown in degrees Celsius. If you see that little C at the top of each of them with a little circle, and the question is, what is the difference in temperature? Right, now the very important thing we need to do first is to work out the intervals of each thermometer so that we don't make a mistake. So if we look at the 0 and we look at the 10, we can see that we've got some little lines in between those. There are intervals, and if we count from 0 up to the 10, we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Okay, so that's showing us that each of those lines isn't worth 1, but they must be worth 2. So between each multiple of 10, the intervals are going up by 2 or going down by 2. So let's just check we're right, and that would work if we count up from 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, we get to 10. So we know we're right. And let's also do it from 0, counting down to minus 10. We've got minus 2, minus 4, minus 6, minus 8, bringing us to minus 10. Okay, that's very important that we do that, and we have realised that before we begin to work out the answer to our in focus task. Okay, so I can see then that the thermometer on the left hand side is showing a temperature of 2 degrees Celsius because it's on the interval above the 0, and we know that each of those intervals are worth 2. So that's telling me it's 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, now if we look to the thermometer on the right hand side, we can see that this reading is going to be a negative reading because it's below the 0, it's less than 0. So if we start at the 0 and we count down using our little intervals, we can see we've got minus 2, minus 4, minus 6. Okay, so now we need to work out the difference between minus 6 and 2. So if we start at minus 6 and count up to 2, we will work out our answer. So let's do that now. Minus 6. Okay, so we're counting up. We're going to be counting up minus 6, minus 4, minus 2, 0, 2. Okay, so we counted up 4 intervals, and we know that each of those are worth 2. So 2 times 4 is 8. So we know that the difference in temperature is 8 degrees Celsius. Now you can also do it the other way just to check that we're right. We're going to go from the positive 2 down to the negative 6. So we're going to go counting in our 2's, 2, 4, 6, 8. And we can see that we're right. The difference in temperature is 8 degrees. Okay, so now we're on to our Let's Learn task. And we have got Charles, Emma, and I have completely forgotten, and Amira. Sorry, Amira is helping us today as well. Okay, now we've got 2 number lines here, and we've got a horizontal number line, which means lying across, going from left to right or right to left, and we've got a vertical number line going up and down, which Charles is pointing to for us. Okay, now we can see that we've got our 0, and then any numbers going above that are positive numbers, and any numbers going below that on the vertical number line are going to be negative numbers. Okay, if we look, Emma is showing us the horizontal number line, and here it's very important to note that if you're counting from the 0 to the right, all numbers will be positive numbers, And if you are counting from the 0 to the left, all numbers will be negative, going from 0 to the left-hand side. And it's asking us to show -6 degrees Celsius and 2 on a number line, okay? So we can see here that we've got from 0, if we count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it brings us to -6. And if we start again at 0, it's always good to go back to 0 and count up to the 2. We're going to count up 1, 2. So we've got 2 degrees Celsius. And it works exactly the same way on the horizontal number line. Counting from the 0, if we're going right, we're counting up 2. And going from 0 to the left, we are going to count 6, which will take us to -6. Okay, so let's learn and find the difference between -6 and 2. So you can either start at -6 and count to the right and count how many spaces and intervals you go on to get there. So we're going to do that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we count from -6 to the right, it brings us to 2. And we should get exactly the same number, the same difference of 8, if we count from 2 to the -6. Let's try that now, going from right to left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, we get the same answer of a difference of 8 degrees. Okay, now we're looking at guided practice. Okay, let's read what our question is today in guided practice. The diagram shows the water level in a lake. Okay, so if we look across at our scale and our negative numbers and our positive numbers on the right hand side, we can see where the water level has come up to. And you can see there that it is at -4 meters. Okay, so good idea maybe to write that down so you know what we're beginning with. Okay, let's read the question. So, what if the water level increases by 3 meters? What is the final water level? Now, we've just looked and seen that the water level is currently at 4 meters. So, if it increases, that means it's going to get bigger, it's going to rise. So, we're going to count up from -4, we're going to count up 3 meters. So, we're going to go up 1 to -3 meters, up 2 to -2 meters, and up 3 to -1 meter. So that will be our answer to part A. If it increases from -4 meters by 3 meters, the final water level will be -1 meter. Always remember to write your unit of measurement. Okay, let's have a look at B. What if the water level increases to 3 meters? What is the increase in water level? So if we're going from 4 meters up to 3 meters, which is a positive 3 meters, we're going to count all the way up from -4 meters to 3 meters. Let's do that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have stopped at 3 meters and we've counted up 7 meters. So the increase in water level will be 7 meters. Okay, and moving on to question number 2 of our guided practice today. Here we have got a horizontal number line and we've got some positions marked with letters that actually spell out the word help. Hopefully you don't need any help at this stage and you're following it all fine. Okay, so we've got our 0 in the middle and you can see on our right hand side we've got a +5, our left hand side we've got a -5 and -5. Okay, so it's asking us what number on the number line is shown by point H. Now, how could we work that out? Just have a think for a second. Okay, hopefully you came up with some answers there. You may already have the answer. For those of you who aren't sure, we'll have a look now together. Now, if we start at our 0, always begin at 0 unless it states otherwise. We're going to count from 0 to the left until we get to 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But because we've counted from 0 to the left, we know that in fact it's not going to be 7, it's going to be minus 7. So in order to help you remember that, you might want to count from 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7. We are moving 7 spaces to the left, and it is bringing us to minus 7. Okay, now we're going to go on to B, and we're going to try and work out what the value of E is. I'm going to let you have a quick go before I tell you the answer. Okay, so hopefully you counted 2 places to the left and you reached minus 2. Well done if you got minus 2. Now we're going to move on to work out C, and we're going to find out what the value of point L is. Now remember, when we're counting from 0 to the right or 0 up, we are going to be having positive numbers. So we're going to count now 1, 2. So we know that the value of L is 2. And finally, we're going to finish with P. We've helpfully had it marked number 5, so we can count from 5 rather than going all the way back from 0, 5. Carry on counting up to P, 6, 7, 8. So we know that the value of P is 8. Well done. Okay, now number 3 of our guided practice today. It's asking us to mark the point on the number line that shows minus 3. Now, if we look at our scale here, we can see that we've got 0 and then we've got an interval that is unmarked before we get to minus 2. Then we have another unmarked interval before we get to minus 4. So using your knowledge of number, where might you think that minus 3 would be? That's absolutely correct. Well done to those of you who knew that it would be on the interval that is unmarked between the minus 2 and the minus 4. That is exactly where minus 3 will go. Now for B, we need to find minus 1.5. Okay, so now we're dealing with half a number. 0.5 is half. So if you look at the vertical number line that you've got, you can see that very helpfully it's on graph paper, and we can see that between those intervals there is a faint line, so we know that's going to be halfway between the whole numbers. So we're looking for 1.5, 1.5. So if we go back to our 0, we know that the interval above it there is going to be 1. Now the next numbered interval is going to be 2, but we're not going as far as 2, we're only going to 1.5. So where would you mark your 1.5 on the number line? Oh, well done to those of you who have spotted that Miss Watson made an error. I am in fact trying to find minus 1.5. So although it would work going up between the 2 and 0 is going to be the 1, and again we'd have 1.5, we have to go below the 0 in order to mark minus 1.5. So from exactly the same as you going up but going down, if you go down the unmarked interval, that would be 1, and if we go down further to the next marked interval, it's minus 2. So we're looking for the line between the minus 1 and the minus 2, and that is going to be minus 1.5 on that faint little line between the unmarked minus 1 and the marked minus 2. Well done for those of you who spotted that I was going in the wrong direction. Okay, number C now, we've got minus 0.5, so minus half, and hopefully you all remember that between 0 and 1 we have half. So again, we're going to be marking that on the faint line below the 0 and before the unmarked interval 1 will be our minus 0.5. Well done, you're doing brilliantly. Okay, now we are going to look at our workbook, and this is where you're going to be working independently. I will go through number 1 with you, and then you're going to have a go at the next questions on your own. Okay, so our diagram here, this ruler shows the water level of a river during a drought in the month of June. And for those of you who don't know, a drought is when there is a long period without any rain, so not much water around. Okay, and if we look at the water level that we have in June, we can see that it's negative. It's less than 0 meters of water, so it's -1 meter is where it's showing, okay? So let's have a look at the first question A. In the month of July, the water level increased by 6 meters. Shade to show the new water level. What was the water level in July? Okay, so it's increasing by 6. So from our -1, we are going to count up 6 meters. Okay, our intervals are marked nice and clearly, so we don't have to do any guesswork. We just count up from -1. We count up 6 to see what was the water level in July. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, hopefully, you all got to 5 meters because that was the new water level in July. Okay, now B is a question that really shows us the importance of reading the question very carefully, not rushing ahead thinking we know the answer. Really make sure you know what the question is asking you. So, in August, the water level dropped. The difference in the water level between July and August was 4 meters. Find the difference between the water level in June and the water level in August. Okay, when I first read this very quickly, I just worked out the difference between July and August, but it actually wants to know the difference between the water level in June and August, although you will have had to do some detective work to find out what the water level was in July also. So you need to use that knowledge to help you work it out. Okay, so let's look at what we know. So we know that in June, the water level was -1 meter. Okay, now in July, we just worked out that it actually increased, it rose up to 5 meters. Okay, so we had 1 meter and then we had 5 meters. And then in August, the water level dropped again. So the difference in the water level between July and August was 4 meters. So we have to go down from 5 meters, we have to go down, count down 1, 2, 3, 4, which would have brought us to 1 meter. So we know that the water level in August was 1 meter. So now the question is asking us to find the difference between June and August. So if we know that in June the water level was -1 meter, and then in July it was 5 meters, and then in August it was 1 meter, we're actually going to be finding the difference between 1 meter and -1 meter. So we can start either at -1, let's start off at -1 meter, and we're going to count up to 1 meter. So we're going to do 1, 2. So we find the difference is 2 meters. Now we could count backwards from 1 meter down to -1 as well, counting through 0, 1, 2. So we know that our answer is going to be 2 meters. Well done to those of you who read the question carefully and worked out exactly what it was asking you. Now you're going to have a go on your own, but if you have any problems, please drop me a line on either classroom on your wall and I will respond to you and help you as soon as I can. Okay, looking forward to seeing you in our next lesson. Bye for now.